Alright, what is up, boys and girls? Welcome back to another video. As always, thank you very much for joining me for another daily update on the stock market. Please do like and subscribe, leave a comment down below, and check out the links in the description. Really helps out the channel. So we're just going to be taking a look at the stock market today for another little daily update. As you can see, we're at all-time highs pretty much again. After a little bit of a pullback over the past few days, you can see pretty much pushing for a new all-time high as suspected. We have been seeing continuous new all-time highs over the past few weeks after this big recovery that we saw off the drop that we saw at the start of the year. Obviously, as I've been saying in previous videos, the tariff wars that we saw in the US have obviously dropped the stock market very significantly here, as we have seen in previous major events like back in 2020 here. Pretty significant drop, but then the V-shaped recovery and the continuation. And I wouldn't expect anything less or anything different with the stock market going forward in this instance either. You can see we've got this clean drop. We came all the way down past some pretty key levels, scaring people out the market. And then before you know it, we've come back up to the upside. Congratulations to anyone who bought down here. You have done exceptionally well for yourself. All people that just average in every single day. You got some nice entries down here before coming up to new all-time highs again. So very interesting stuff. You can see quite clearly here that the markets have been recovering fully and continuing with full force back to a new all-time high. Looking very strong, to be honest, as we continue up. Lots and lots of stocks in the US looking very strong. Some of the biggest ones in the world. You can see on the hourly time frame here, if we take a quick look, a little bit of stalling out, but looking like today we could be hitting that new all-time high again after coming down, grabbing some liquidity down here below this level before continuing up. Really, we just kind of went sideways in a bit of a range for a little while here before getting that break, retest, continuation, retest, and now just continuing again, I would say, with everyone getting some decent entries down here. About 50 points down from the price that we're at now. So overall, I would say the S&P 500 looking really good right now. On the 5-minute time frame, you can see over the past few days, we've basically just been going sideways a little bit here, but looking like we're threatening to continue now again. Back up to new all-time highs, looking very strong, not getting any major drops at all. And looking very much here like we're just going to be continuing again to new all-time highs. So let's take a look at our big stocks. We've got Nvidia having a little bit of a drop, as you can see. On Tuesday, which was an interesting one, a little bit of a retracement, but really probably just down to fill that new week opening gap that we got here. And most likely just going to probably consolidate a bit and then continue to a new high. You can see Nvidia has been incredibly strong recently, up at new all-time highs and just looking like an absolute beast. I can't believe this is up like 2x, more than 2x, ever since we had that big drop to the downside. And relatively speaking, Nvidia was very strong during this period, didn't really drop anywhere near as much as other stocks in the market before coming up to a new all-time high. And you can see the macro, absolutely incredible for Nvidia. This hourly time frame showing us having a little bit of a retrace here, but we're up in pre-market and I'd probably expect this to recover and continue back to the upside. Let's have a little look at Tesla. Tesla will be an interesting one, still going sideways here. Not too much movement on Tesla recently. Probably going to take an earnings report here, which is today actually. Estimate. These are our estimates. Will be interesting to see where this goes today, won't it? I would say Tesla, just like most of these big stocks in the market, are going to continue recover and continue back to their all-time highs. It just depends how long that it takes in reality. We always had a pretty decent drop during the Trump dump for tariffs that we saw. We're slowly on the way to recovering here, but taking a bit longer than some other stocks in the market. Right now, Tesla has been in a bit of a weird spot because obviously Elon Musk has kind of been at odds with Donald Trump recently. So even though we did come up and hit a new all-time high here during the Trump pump we saw when Trump won the election, since then we've kind of had a drop because of the tariffs and we're still waiting to recover back to all-time highs here. But overall, I think Tesla's going to be fine in the long term. Congratulations if you bought it down here at $100 a few years ago. You would be up over 3x on your position. And right now I can't see anything but Tesla really just continuing to new all-time highs in the long term. Going to be a really good long-term prospect in my opinion. All of these tech stocks, to be honest, I can't imagine you'll do too badly on them over the next 10, 15, 20 years. So little look at Microsoft. Nothing to report here apart from Microsoft just doing Microsoft things and continuing pretty much straight up to the upside as it has done for its entire life cycle essentially. I'd be interested to meet someone who bought Microsoft back here when it was down below $10. I mean, it's incredible really, isn't it? People actually bought Microsoft for like 10 cents. Absolutely remarkable stuff. Thousands and thousands of X's of return on revenue. Imagine investing $1,000 at 10 cents. You would be an absolute millionaire by now. But Microsoft, as I said, doing Microsoft things, continuing to the upside, looking very strong, showing absolutely no sign of stopping at all, heading up in this very, very concise and tight channel, as you can see. If my magnet wants to stop magnetizing me, there we go. You can see this has just been heading up very, very strong here. I think if we dropped out of this, we could see a decent pullback, actually. There is still this huge gap down here, which hasn't been filled. I'm not saying that it will. I don't think Microsoft is going to drop $100 to come and fill this gap, if I'm honest. But you can see Microsoft, obviously, for a long period of time here, was actually just chopping sideways, essentially for a year or two before continuing up. Now, with obviously all the tech stocks doing extremely well, we have seen some really good movement for Microsoft to the upside. I can't imagine this going anywhere but continuing to grind up, to be honest. Quick look at Amazon. As we can see, grinding back up to its all-time high as well. Pretty much the same story as most things. The V-shaped recovery back to the all-time high here, very, very likely. We've got a gap down here that got partially filled. It'll be interesting to see whether or not this actually gets filled in the future. I don't think for now we're going to be heading back down there unless we see some kind of economic crisis in the US. Apple in a bit of a weird spot, as I said in yesterday's video, but Apple does tend to have these periods of kind of meandering around in a sideways motion like this before going eventually to a new all-time high in the macro, like most things. Google right now, also in a bit of a weird spot, does have that tendency, it's very similar to Apple, of just kind of having this choppy, meandering price action, but you can see the trend here is back towards the all-time high as well, just like most of our other tech stocks. Nothing much to report here, apart from the fact that we're probably just going to be recovering in this V-shaped way, basically exactly the same as the S&P 500 index. Google basically is looking like it's going to be heading back up to that $210 level pretty quick. Meta having a little bit of a pullback after hitting its all-time high. You can see Meta's actually already V-shaped all the way back up, hit a new all-time high, and then people are selling off a little bit here. Currently at $700, up a little bit in pre-market. You can see the hourly time frame really, we've just kind of had a little bit of a retracement as people are just selling off after hitting all-time highs again. Probably took an exceptionally good trade down below $500 up to $750, taking some profit, as you can imagine. And I think this will probably continue to grind around to the side like this for a while people accumulate stocks, and then they'll get back to the upside. So daily update on the stock market completed. Hope you enjoyed. Please do like and subscribe and leave a comment down below. Check out the links in the description and get involved. Really, really appreciate the support. And we'll be back tomorrow for another update.